Welcome, everybody. So I have this shirt on because we have a new chief editor of a new section, Biodiversity. Where are you, Chelsea? Right here. Chelsea Spector, a colleague, a professor at Berkeley. So this is my feeble attempt at evolution, the evolution of skulls to turn into the Grateful Dead. So I'm going to be really brief and just go over some of the, do you have the advance for this? Some of the core elements of the journal, and then we'll get started with the program. Basically, it's a program targeted to kind of flip the scientific process and put kids in charge of the substance of science that gets published. So to really do that, they become the reviewers. So the papers are submitted by scientists. The kids then review it, give their comments back. The kids work in conjunction with their mentors, and it really assures that whatever gets published is gone by the eyes of a kid and they understand it. So that's really the core principle of the journal. We like to have either new discoveries from authors, or an author could put in a review paper, a conceptual paper in an area. So we take both types of papers. The scientists vary in age from a lot younger than me to older than me. So there's a large range of people submitting articles. We now have involved in the process 22 countries. We have over 250 kid science reviewers and many associate editors. So we're slowly building the journal. As I mentioned, we could either have papers that are new discoveries or core concepts. We have 5 sub-areas of the journal. Neuroscience is where the journal started. Then we have Earth and Resources, which runs, the chief editor for that journal is in Switzerland. Then we have Health, and the chief editors from that journal are in London and in San Diego. Neuroscience is Sabina Kastner at Princeton. Space and Astronomy runs out of Chicago with Shane Larson. And of course, now we have Chelsea running Biodiversity, which I think is going to be a really exciting new division. Now, very importantly, the article is reviewed by a science mentor and the young mind. So they're paired up. In some cases, it's a parent who feels comfortable with the science and will handle the review. In other cases, it's actually usually somebody who's volunteering their time, a grad student or a postdoc, and that they're really critical to the process. In fact, half the kids here today actually worked with a Berkeley PhD. Who worked with a Berkeley PhD on this one? Yes, thank you. It's a little slow, but we're getting there. So, what I'd really like to do is I'd like to thank the mentors for this particular event. So could you just stand up for a second, please? Jenna and Lisa and Benita, thank you. And Mom, you can stand up, Mom, go ahead. Mom is a Berkeley PhD, so she's very highly qualified mentor. The mentors are incredibly dedicated. It is a new journal. We're operating on a modest, but hopefully not for too long budget. So we have to really worry about travel and expenses like that. And to show you just how dedicated they are, sometimes, if you fly coach, it's $80, but if you fly cargo, we could get somebody here for maybe $30 or $40. So could you just... This journal functions on the incredible fuel of our scientific mentors who go to any length to provide education to our children. And here's one of our mentors for this event. Who came here all the way from, where did you come from? Hey, where? All the way from Sunnyvale. But then you can really save money if you go to someone coming in from out of the country. Okay. Yeah. Then, besides our fabulous mentors, of course, we have our invaluable authors. And where did you come from? Canada. Straight from Canada.
Shipped all the way here.
All the way here. So, highly committed. They really are committed. So just to where's the final? Get out of there. Okay, just to give you some of the kind of comments that come back, which really are very scientifically interesting in many ways. These are from the kids. Like, it'd be helpful if they told us how they took the measurements of brains without actually having to remove the brain. That's an interesting query. The writers of the article did not make it clear why such an expensive and involved research project was done to begin with. It seemed like a fruitless task. That's not what you want to see on any paper you submit or any grant, or the point is not clearly expressed. I didn't understand the main scientific question because there were so many details at the beginning. Maybe state what the main question is earlier in the manuscript. And that's what we want the kids to get at. What's the hypothesis? How am I going to test it? When I get the data, how am I going to analyze it? And how am I going to deliver it? And then finally, the worst possible review you could ever get. This seems important, but the way it was written is so boring, I can't even get to the end. Could the authors maybe sound excited about what they are doing? So with that, I'll turn it over to Indra, but I want to just say something about Indra. This is the second year she did this, and she's a fantastic scientist, and I just noticed something. I was looking at her publications, and I'm going to recruit her for something right now. She doesn't know this. She just published a paper. She's the senior or first author, 2016, in Neuropsychology, responses of neurons, single brain cells in the human temporal lobe, where your memory areas are, while you're encoding and recognizing face-scene pairs. So this just came out. So I should just tell you, we just bought single unit equipment. We have no idea what we're doing. We're going to go to Caltech, actually, for a symposium, and I'm hoping I can get you to come to the lab and do a lab meeting.
Well,
give us some of your insights.
Yes, I will do my best. You have a long road ahead of you.
Yeah, thank you.
The data from that paper were collected more than 10 years ago.
I see. With that, I will turn the program over.
But that's how science works often. It takes a long time to really figure out how the data are going to tell us something important and interesting and worth sharing. And of course, if you can't explain your idea or what you found to a person who is in 5th or 6th grade, the truth is that you don't understand it well enough yourself. And that's why this journal is so important, and also why looking at these reviewers and understanding what it is that they're going to gain from these papers is so valuable to the authors. I've published 40 plus or minus empirical papers and book chapters, which is a hand. Bob's had like 17 million, but every single one of those papers was made better because of the review process. And I know that it would be even 10 times better if my reviewers were as challenging as this group of people in front of us. So without further ado, let me introduce to you the reviewers and give you a sense of how this afternoon will work. First, let me just say that this event is presented in association with the Bay Area Science Festival, presented by Chevron. It's a 10-day celebration of science and technology organized by UCSF's Science and Health Education Partnership. It occurs every year across the Bay Area. You can go to bayareascience.org for more information about different events. So our reviewers today, starting with Darius. He's our senior reviewer. He's 13. He's in 8th grade. He plays the trumpet. He's also a tinkerer and enjoys computer programming and a skilled debater. Let's just keep that in mind. Next to him is Skylar. She's 11 and in 7th grade. She writes fiction, she sings, and she acts. And as a person who has a background in music, she is dear to my heart. But mostly she is dear to my heart because she looks up to her mom. If only my son would do the same. She also plays soccer and basketball. Next to her is Sibyl. Sibyl is in 4th grade. She's 8 years old. She likes soccer, science, and cooking. And my dear authors, I hope you double-checked your stats because she is really good at math. Next to her is Krishna, and Krishna is 11. He's in 6th grade. He likes space and physics. He's already started writing 3 children's books, and he is interested in bringing back extinct species through extinct DNA research. So hopefully we'll hear a little bit about that. He also likes baseball and kung fu. Next to him is Wyatt. Wyatt is 10. He's in 5th grade. He likes to cook and try new foods. I wish I could introduce him to my son as well. He's also into physics and robotics, and he's very good at building, especially with Legos. And finally, our junior reviewer is Payson. She's 7. She's in 2nd grade. She likes writing poetry and songs, and of course, science. She also collects rocks and stuffed animals, and she has a pet guinea pig named Luna. So now you know a little bit about our reviewers. We are going to now ask each of the authors to come up, and they will present for 3 to 5 minutes their main ideas from their paper, which, by the way, all of the reviewers, or at least 2 of the reviewers, have read all of the papers. So not all the reviewers have read all of the papers, but all the papers have been read by the reviewers. It's much more complicated than it needed to be. And then we will have 10 to 15 minutes of questions from the reviewers. Once we go through all the papers, we'll have one final discussion of the review process, and we'll open it up for a few minutes to questions from the audience.